Part 2 of fact-checking the presidential debate. If you didn't watch the first part, just know that I'm not going to play all the clips so we don't have to live through that nightmare again. I just took the transcript from the YouTube video. That's why it's in all caps, and then I added my notes. So then it went to Kamala Harris's rebuttal, and she said Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Now, this was false because unemployment was 6.7% in 2020. Now, I don't know if they're looking just at the monthly number, but there were many years that were around that 6.7 or even higher. Like the most recent being 2013, 2012, 2011. Then she goes on to say that what you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. Listen, people have very big feelings about this topic because it's been weaponized. Trump's plan is Agenda 47, not Project 2025. As a marketing person, I can tell you that this is quite literally the case of if you say it enough, people will believe it. And that's why her campaign brings it up at any chance they get. Even on her policies, she talks about Trump's Project 2025. So to be fair about this subject, this is what I did. I went to Democrats, very well-known Democrats, and their videos, and I watched to hear their explanation. Why do they think that this is Trump's Project 2025? And it really boils down to two arguments. They say that 20 former Trump aides left the White House and went to the Heritage Foundation and helped write Project 2025. But that ignores the fact that there's 3 million federal employees. So for only 20 of them to go to the Heritage Foundation, that's really not a big deal. Especially because when a new administration takes over or a new political party takes over the White House, a lot of employees are laid off day one and they're looking for work. So of course, a lot of them went to the Republican Heritage Foundation. The other argument is that J.D. Vance wrote the foreword to Project 2025, but that is actually false. But really what it is the president of the Heritage Foundation wrote a book himself, not Project 2025, and that's what J.D. Vance wrote the foreword to. So he did not write the foreword to Project 2025. Listen, if you still believe with your entire heart that Project 2025 is Trump's plan, just know that nothing would be able to be done overnight. Everything would have to go through Congress. And I've said before, it looks like we're going to have a split Congress, so nothing's going to get passed. Let's just be real. And just bonus information, if you actually want a true boogeyman that gives you the creeps about how our government is run, go look up this fellowship, the Fellowship Foundation. That is some scary stuff for you that has to do with Democrats and Republicans alike. Then it goes to Trump's rebuttal. And of course, he said, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. We already talked about that. So moving on, he said, we did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. Well, listen, I don't think I really need to get into detail about this one because I think this is something that everyone agrees on, that he totally botched the pandemic. But, you know, people on different sides of the aisle disagree why he botched it. And it's a subjective statement anyway, so you can make your own opinion. He said, but the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs, referring to the Biden-Harris administration. It's not exactly true. I made a video about this a few days ago that really went into detail, but basically Biden-Harris, they claim to have added 15 million new jobs to the economy, but really it's more so around 4 million jobs over 4 years. Probably don't need to read this entire thing, but basically Kamala said that the best economists, Goldman Sachs, and 16 Nobel Prize winners said that Trump's plan is going to cause a recession and it's going to be worse off for the country. So yes, Goldman Sachs said that the US economy would be better under Harris than Trump. And there's also pushback saying that the plan would actually destroy middle-class Americans. I just want to say this, what's best for Goldman Sachs is not always what's best for middle-class Americans. And yes, this is the letter that the 16 Nobel Prize winners wrote and signed. I personally see a lot of red flags here. Like they actually praise like Biden investing trillions of dollars and adding to our debt, and that somehow helped the economy. And we know that inflation is caused by government overspending. I completely understand if you disagree with me here, but listen, I feel like you can pay anyone any kind of money to say whatever you want to say. And that's true with people all along the political spectrum. But as we saw in my last video, a lot of people disagree or it's debatable, a lot of these topics. It depends on what you're looking at. Are you looking at the full picture? Are you only looking at one policy? It's really hard to tell. Then it was time for Trump's rebuttal, and he said, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan. Now, he did go to the Wharton School, but I can't find anything public that says these top professors praised Trump's plan. This is the only thing that I can find that they did like an hour podcast, but this was in 2017. So I don't really know what they said because they took the audio off their website. Is it possible that he had private conversations with these professors? Sure. And we don't have a record of that. I mean, in terms of her not having a plan, that was true until Monday. She did drop her plans before the debate. And he was responding to Kamala saying that there's going to be a Trump sales tax, that tariffs are going to increase everyday goods for us. And he said they're not going to have higher prices. Who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. He's definitely wrong about this. Tariffs definitely do increase the price of goods. I mean, you could be looking at it as, people might buy American made instead of buying stuff that's imported with those higher tariffs. Then domestic costs are going to go up too. I mean, looking at the full picture, costs would go up. We would increase revenue in our country. If he does want to lower taxes, would we save some on our yearly taxes, but then spend more on everyday goods? It's all a risk reward type of situation. And the last one for this video, he says, all you have to do is look at the poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible. In all the polls that I'm seeing, when asked who is going to do better with the economy, Donald Trump is at 55%. Joe Biden was in the race. I do believe that Trump's number was higher for the economy, but I don't think it was that high. That's what I have for you guys for this one. As always, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you want me to continue or if we're just getting bored with the debate at this point. Let me know and make sure you're following me for more.